Hello, it is Hearts of Iron 4. Yeah, still trying to figure out this new intro thing. So we're playing a new mod today. Before I get into that, I should probably address the 4,000 comments on the last video that just said rat. So, here's a picture of a rat. Okay, well done. You broke YouTube twice over, spamming those comment sections to the point that it could no longer be commented on. So I guess you guys really enjoy this GIF of a rat. Now, if you'll just hit the sub button and get me to 1 million subscribers, I'll just go ahead and become the rat guy permanently. Every video will be rat themed. I'll have a rat avatar. We'll all just rat it up. But currently that's 175,000 subscribers away. So I got time to go ahead and roll that one back, and hopefully you'll forget about it. More importantly, welcome to Hoi 4, where today we're checking out another mod. And this is the post-war settlement mod, which aims to make peace deals a bit better. I'm pretty sure it does kind of take the way Kaiserreich does things. I haven't tried it out, but I wanted to give this a whole video for the simple fact people always complain that I don't really take the peace deal seriously most of the damn time. I do try to make the world look, you know, presentable, realistic in some sort of RP scenario, but most of the time, if I'm playing a stupid challenge or something that's 1951, I'm kind of done with the game at that point. So as such, I'm kind of combining two ideas today because I want to show off the mod, but at the same time, I also want to play Hoi 4 in a more RP friendly way. See, I actually play a lot of Hearts of Iron 4 in my spare time. When I say a lot, I mean I play a game once a week on my own, just to play around, have a bit of fun, not really worry about recording. And when I play these games, I tried to play it in a bit more of a historical sense. I mean, not always. Sometimes I just want to do something dumb. But most of the time, I want to try and take it a bit more seriously. Now, when I say I've tried to play it with a bit of RP in mind, you know, a bit of a historical relevancy, I don't mean I'm kind of sat here with my Stalin uniform and hat on, being like, damn, there's too many doctors in this country. No, I just tried to play how I imagine, you know, it could have potentially gone in real life. So today, I'm going to be playing a game of Hearts of Iron 4 where I actually try to justify the actions I do in this game. Like sending the NKVD to go guard the border over here with Japan. Now obviously, playing the Soviet Union at the start, there are quite a few problems you have to deal with. We're still in the process of our mass industrialization. We obviously have to deal with a lot of factionalism in our army and our command structure, and on top of that, we got a leader who's not too happy with a few people being around. On top of that, the hindsight we have knowing what's coming means we really have to be prepared in really dealing with what's coming. And unless we play non-historical and we turn the historical focuses off, there's nothing we can really do to avoid, again, what's coming. But there are things we could do to be put in a way better position for when it does arrive. Now, on top of that, we are also a communist country, and I think our number one cause is obviously going to be spreading the revolution. Something you don't get a lot of time to do because most of the time if you're playing a Soviets game, you're probably just building up to prepare for the Germans to arrive. Obviously, not today. I want to go ahead and spread the revolution as far as we can possibly do it and put us in a really strong position. And that's obviously down to the fact we're showing off a mod that should make peace deals, you know, a bit better for us and obviously more realistic. Now, the first thing we are greeted with in our Soviet game here is the control of the Bosphorus. Now, of course, we are going to go ahead and mobilize the armed forces immediately to get the Turkish to come to the table and compromise our access to make sure that we can keep control of the Black Sea. But the fact we have to compromise with Turkey already is putting me in a bit of a pickle, as I don't really want to compromise with the Turks for the full control of my sea. So whilst discussions are ongoing, obviously, for compromising our access to the Black Sea, we're going to go ahead and put a contingency plan in action. This will get a little bit complicated because Turkey does actually have a defensive pact with the Romanians, which is conveniently another area we would like to gain a bit more control in. And one of the reasons for that is the substantial amount of oil Romania is currently producing, something that if, let's say, an enemy would love to go ahead and trade over, they could do over land, which I don't particularly want. And since we are also going to go ahead and work on, let's just say, get a bit more favorable terms with Turkey and Romania, we're also going to go ahead and do Middle East diplomacy to also spread the revolution on over. Now, with our secret attack ready to strike, we are also going to go ahead and start using our intelligence agency to boost our communist supporters over in Hungary. So let's go ahead and see if this all turns out okay. So whilst we push in from the Caucasus, we have got our special landing party, which has seized control of the Bosphorus immediately. And with that, we have overwhelmed all Turkish resistance. Now, I'm pretty sure for the mod to work, what we have to do is simply go ahead and take all the land. You can't puppet it through the peace deal anymore, and then we'll get a whole bunch of decisions and options on what to do with it. And next up, we will overwhelm the Romanian forces, and they'll also come to terms with communism. And there we go. We now get ourselves the option on what to do with the new land we are occupying. Obviously, what we'd like to do is install more collaborationist regimes. And there you go. We have secured ourselves 2 new allies in the region. Now that we have finished up with that, we are going to go ahead and send some volunteers over to Spain to see if we can salvage their situation. Axis members, or soon-to-be Axis members, are sending volunteers over to test out their new theories of warfare. And I've got my own theories of warfare too, which just so happened to be destroy your guys's. I do think that the Spanish Civil War situation is definitely not going our way, and I think we may have arrived a bit too late to really turn the tide here, but we have learned some useful lessons, specifically which we have then gone ahead and translated into army experience and then put into our doctrine. On top of that, our communist influence has actually spread on over to Iran to the point that they now want to actually join my faction, which I'm going to say yes to. So sadly, the Republicans have fallen in Spain, but our volunteers did make it out to fight another day. Now, an area we are currently lacking in pretty horrendously is our naval capabilities. Obviously, with the Germans rearming and creating quite a navy themselves, we also have to worry about the Japanese in the east, who are getting a much larger and stronger navy every day. And history has told us that we should definitely be worried about the Japanese navy. Sadly, we don't have the time to really match them on capital ships, and what we currently have isn't exactly going to turn the tide of the battle. As such, we'll be launching a new program, a new navy, a modern navy. Right, instead of focusing on big capital ships, we'll be focusing on more maneuverable, cheaper, and more reliable, smaller ships. Now, as we are modernizing our equipment, we have quite a lot in stockpile, both captured from the people we have conquered, liberated, that is just sitting around in our storage that we don't particularly need, nor do we want to give to our troops, even in the worst of circumstances. Such will be enacting a new policy where all the old equipment will be donated to fellow revolutionaries. There you go, Mao. I'm sure you can get quite a bit done with all this. The background of our geopolitical affairs, we have been dealing with our own political security, and we have managed to track down the whereabouts of a known snake, and we'll be sending our top diplomat, Svetlana, to go ahead and put a bit of a nail in the end of this situation. Germans have offered us a non-aggression pact and a division of areas in Eastern Europe, which we will sign. Surely they can be trusted, but it will be a sign of their new conquest in Europe that they are currently undergoing that we should also just be prepared, maybe just in case things go badly, to potentially fight them. And whilst we don't currently agree with the American ideology, I do think there is a benefit in us working together, at least for the moment. Specifically down to the fact that Germans are making quite a few big moves. Very unsurprisingly, the Germans have honored their part of the bargain and handed over Eastern Poland, which means obviously they're gonna, stick with the rest of it, right? Perfect. Our diplomatic conundrums with Mr. Trotsky have been dealt with, and we no longer have to worry about the Trotskyite scourge in our country. We are noticing that things appear to be spiraling a bit out of control in Europe, and we can use this to our benefit to now expand our claims over in the Baltics. With the Allies and even the Germans otherwise busy elsewhere, we have got them fully under our control. Next up, it's time for us to redraw the border over with Finland. In an effort to avoid confrontation with the Axis, I did hand over Transylvania to Hungary to hopefully avoid said conflict. Yeah, that that didn't really work. But it is no matter. We shall do this your way. We've noticed a huge concentration of Axis forces along our border and supposed plans for a war. As of yet, though, nothing has happened, but at any moment, something could happen, or potentially nothing will ever happen. Just as we thought tensions had simmered down, the Germans launch a surprise attack. So we're going to go ahead and enact our desperate measures and dig in as hard as we can. It's an attack we weren't exactly expecting, considering we did have that whole non-aggression pact thing, but they have come ahead and attacked us. The so-called German war machine has pushed us past our original defensive lines, but we have managed to pull back a considerable amount of our army and not really lost too much in doing so. On top of that, in the skies, the air war is going absolutely beautiful for us as we slowly push those Germans out of the sky. So our defense has worked. We've even managed to get ourselves a little bit of a counterattack going down here to secure our lines. We also had a uprising happen over in Iraq. They joined the Axis. We don't have the men to actually deal with that right now, but I am providing air support for our Iranian allies who are hopefully going to take care of it. Germans also did manage to break my defense up here in Finland, but unfortunately for them, I have come back with Zhukov himself and shown them a bit of what's what. It does look like the Allied forces are starting to make little chips away here at the Axis forces. I say little, I mean Italy's gone, but considering their contribution usually in the game, we're just going to stake with little. So I think it's only fitting that we now launch our own counterattack with our newly assembled Soviet tank force, as the Germans were most certainly not expecting that one. Now, a race for the capitulation of Germany is on. We obviously can't let those silly little allies claim all the glory here, so we will be the first to Berlin. And we aren't even going to worry about doing any encircling over here. If it happens, it happens. But keeping the Germans and their army occupied, pretty much stuck over here on the front, is what we like to see. Look at this open border we have. And just like that, we are going to walk into the German capital completely unopposed. And the bulk of the German army has been completely encircled over there. I think we'll go ahead and take this opportunity as well to let our allies actually finally join the war. We don't exactly expect them to do too well here, but hopefully they can man their borders long enough for the capitulation to happen. And there we go. We've already got ourselves a peace conference. That happened incredibly quickly. There we go. We managed to pretty much get everything and a little bit extra because the Germans did do their annexation of the Vichy regime, so they did take these African colonies, which I can now liberate to the workers. So now I definitely have plenty of decisions to actually go ahead and figure out what to do with our new post-war world. There we go. It is our new post-war world, and it doesn't look too bad at all, and not dissimilar to what actually happened. Well, you know, other than the fact that it was there's no West or East Germany, there's just the Soviet occupation zone. Yeah, we did release our new Soviet states over in Eastern Europe. I did hold on to Danzig as a very important naval base that we might need. And we've also got ourselves Soviet Iraq and a few more liberated African states. But we're not done here though, because there's still conflict going on in the East, which we're gonna have to look to next. Japanese really won't have much time to react here. We got our war goal in 10 days, which means we're just going to march over whatever they have in Manchuria more than likely. It does also mean our brand new modern Soviet Navy can be put to the test in the ocean. It does seem like it is beating the Japanese quite easily, although I imagine they might have already been taking quite a beating, but no, they've still got a pretty powerful navy there. Only thing they're really missing is their screens, which is why I think they're going to get rolled over if they do come into contact with their main ships here. Yeah, as soon as we get in there in the battle, if they're not running away, they just get evaporated, which means the Japanese fleet is going to the bottom of the ocean. Sweet Sweet revenge. I think we've got them permanently caught retreating there, so that is a whole bunch of capital ships gone. I was going to launch a invasion of Japan itself, but it looks like the Allies have me beat there, and I'm not going to help them any more than I need to here. I don't think we'll be able to get too much in this conference, but I will attempt to at least get Korea. Okay, that went better than I expected. We also managed to steal a whole bunch of North Japan there. There we go. We now have ourselves a Soviet puppet in Japan, aka North Japan, and I guess South Japan, which is Chinese Japan. Now, the Chinese Civil War has kicked off, and I have invited them to my faction, and I guess I have no choice but to intervene. Yes, instead of the Korean War in this scenario, we have the North and South Japan War. And in the meantime, we're also going to get Yugoslavia under our control. We sent our main attack force to secure Japan, and in doing so, we have lost control of Korea, except for one port down here. Our forces freed up, no longer having to be in Japan, we're just going to go ahead, land back in, and take them out. Considering the entrenchment happening in the Manchurian front, and the fact my allies are eating every single bit of supply up there, we've launched a naval invasion into Shanghai. Also noticing, despite claiming to be a neutral party in the war, there is quite a few allied volunteer forces here. I think we definitely have a collapse of the Chinese forces after that naval invasion. They were not expecting the second front. There we go. China has been handed on over to the PRC. I think I will help myself, though, to all this land in Indochina. But there we go. We could carry on now and probably pretty easily roll over the allies, I won't lie, but I don't think I'm going to. I kind of like leaving it off with our mighty Comintern as it is. Yeah, the mod works pretty well. I have noticed even if the AI is just fighting normally, they do have a lot cleaner peace deals around. Some things were a little messy, but that was mostly me at the start. Like, I had to turn on state transfer tool because I said no to Kurdistan at first, thinking I could do it again after, which obviously I couldn't. So that was great. But yeah, I think if you enjoy obviously how Kaiser Redux and a lot of other mods actually deal with peace conferences with the releasing of states through decisions, it does actually work quite well. Obviously, I will leave it down below. If you enjoyed the video and you want to check the mod out, it will be there. And if you did enjoy the video, feel free to leave a like, subscribe down below for more rat content, and I guess I'll catch you all pretty soon.